When I was a child, I was in fact interested in science from the age of about 10 years. So not specifically astronomy, but science. So I was really a fan of quite different geophysics, plants, and so on. And so when I was obliged to start to do a choice at the university, it was for me very difficult to choose between mathematics and physics. So for the first year, I chose both. After, I have to choose one, and I chose to do studies in physics, theoretical physics. And when I finished in the 66, in fact, it was quite easy to get a position of PhD student because every place, laboratories was increasing, recruiting young people and so on. And it was a little bit by chance that I chose astrophysics because on the same day you have several opportunities, different in statistical mechanics or the different domain. And I say, okay, astrophysics, I will go and see if it's interesting. And I chose to continue and do my PhD in that domain. In theoretical astrophysics, it was related to the problem of spiral waves in spiral galaxies. You know, if you're looking at a nice picture of a galaxy, you have sometimes two big arms. And I did my PhD in this domain, absolutely nothing related to planet or velocities. And this arrived only later. I'm not sure to have a specific moment where I start to say, I will do my full life in the domain of science. I believe it's a responsibility of a very good teacher. I had at some moment between 12 and 16 something like a fantastic teacher in science, doing experiments, extremely stimulating. So it was not a moment, but the contact with this man having really stimulated the interest of myself, but also all the younger colleagues. At some moment, he tried to show us some chemical reaction with chlorum. I don't know the English word for chlor. It's a very dangerous gas. And probably today it will be completely forbidden to do this kind of experiment. So he said, oh, it's a little bit dangerous, so I suggest to go outside in the backyard and to do the experiment outside to not smell the chlor. And he did a quite fascinating experiment, putting some copper inside this gas to show that it starts to burn and things like this. And also we did quite a lot of outside visits in the forest to see flowers, to observe it. So this is the important moment. Maybe I can suggest one aspect of this relatively old professor. During his full life as an elementary school teacher, he was continuing to do his own research at home. He was studying the nematode. I don't know what it is. This kind of nasty worm you can have inside your body. He was a renowned man in this field. And for us, it was very impressive to see this teacher having at home, continuing research, receiving some dirty water from any place in the world to identify new species of nematode. Eventually, I have not chosen to study nematode, but extrasolar planets. I believe science is one very fabulous way to satisfy your curiosity. I still have the same curiosity today. When I'm reading some journal like equivalent to the Scientific American or General, it's so fascinating to see the huge diversity of the work going on in different domains of science, geophysics, archaeology, medicine, and so on. So for me, it's better than any fictions. So I still continuing to the same interest for this kind of research done by colleagues. And here, this is a good opportunity to meet people working in different domains. And I love this. Curiosity is the most important point to be a scientist. If a student is good enough in all the basic tools of science, mathematics, physics, and so on. And he loved to study natural problems, to see what kind of very unusual phenomena exist in the nature. See why it is like this. Sometimes you are looking at the sky and you have some clouds and you see some bright spots apart from the sun. Why it is like this? So if he has this kind of mind, he could do science. I was appointed as a professor at the university during more than 20 years. So yes, I believe I enjoyed. And okay, I have to do some mandatory course in astrophysics, but in addition to this, I have the choice to teach some kind of different topics at the master degree. So you can choose. I would like to learn a little bit more in this domain. So you work to prepare the course, and no, I like to do it, yes. I'm very proud that I had, I believe, 18 PhD students in my life, and I still have very good relationship with all of them. And I was very proud that during many, many years, all of them got a position in science and continue to work in this science. And this was part of the pleasure of the Nobel Prize announcement that a few days ago we have a special celebration at the observatory in Geneva, and some of my PhD students went from Chile, from South America, from Brazil, from south of Italy, to participate to this celebration. So I believe, yes, it's good friends. I don't know how we have to select the people, because it's not always because they are absolutely extremely good at the universities they will be the best. I believe it's how to select. Sometimes you believe that they will be extremely good, and some it's not so good, and sometimes you have some absolutely fantastic, asking the good questions and so on. I mean, we don't have a checklist to select people. After, we have to try and see. Yes, Didier was one of my undergraduate students first, and then after he did his master thesis with me in the domain related to the spectroscopy and things like this. And then after it was the time of the PhD, so he chose to continue with me as a supervisor. And it was just the beginning of the collaboration with some French colleague to build a new instrument. And it was a good opportunity. I asked him if he would like to collaborate to this development. And it was the start of his long-term collaboration with him. And he developed part of the software to analyze the signal we receive. And so and then after it was the time of the success at the end of a few years. Before his PhD, it was the discovery of the first planet. And for him, it was evidently the start. He started in this domain, it's evident. And we have continued to work together during several years. And still today, we have some collaboration. Not only he is part of the time in Cambridge, but also part of the time in Geneva, and we continue to collaborate. In principle, this is one of the most important points in science, to be prepared to the unexpected. Because if you are not only working on what you almost know before, it's not the way to do progress. So you have to always to be prepared to the unexpected. And when we start the program to search for, at the beginning the program was to search for low mass companion to solar type stars. So it was mentioned brown dwarfs and extrasolar planets. Brown dwarfs were very small stellar companion, having a mass too small to ignite and to start nuclear reaction. It was not planned. But, and at the time, nobody knows what could be the period for this kind of objects. So in some sense, it was a chance for us, because we have adapted a rhythm of measurement adapted to never kind of period, either period. And then it was a chance because we discovered an object with a period of only 4 days. If we have been started only from the theory, the period of planet will be more of 10 years. We will have done quite sparse sampling of measurements. So the fact to have some kind of open eyes was a chance for us. Part of this doubt is normal discussion in science. If you have when you have a new facts, I believe you have to be sure to analyze if it's really strong. And you have to remember that the first planet is a giant planet, like about Jupiter, but with a orbital period of only 4.2 days. And the theory at the time said that we cannot have a giant planet with a period shorter than 10 years, because you need to agglomerate ice particles, and ice particles do not exist close to the star. So it was a discrepancy by a factor 1,000 with the theory. So I believe it's evident normal discussion in science where you have a so big discrepancy with the theory to be a little bit cautious and to not. So I believe it was only this period for me was not so stressing. It's not true. I believe it was the period to say what could be the other explanation. What could be maybe is it a rotating star with magnetic activity? Is it a pulsation and so on? So it was, for me, it was only part of the normal discussion in science. You have something, you have to understand what could be. And then after, we have decided to postpone the announcement by 1 year, to wait the next season, to repeat the measurement, to check if everything was still the same period, the same amplitude, the same phase, and so on. And it's only the first week of July, I say, no. The only hypothesis to explain this is a companion. Low mass companion, planetary domain. So we start to write the paper. I knew that many years ago, I've been nominated for the Nobel Prize. But you know that I was not the only one, so several hundred people was also nominated. So I was not surprised to receive anything. Okay. And so I decided with my family, so we don't mind all this. So we take vacation in October, we are taking commitment, professional commitment and things like this. And this was the reason why we were in Spain and I was absolutely not waiting for that. And then, just before the announcement by Professor Hansen, we are leaving San Sebastian to the airport. And I connect my computer, and suddenly I saw the beginning of the press conference given at the Academy. And the first word was something like this: this year the prize will be given to 3 people having contributed to a better knowledge of the cosmos. I say, oh, interesting domain. And then after I heard the 3 names, and then after it was the time to leave to the airport. And then we tried to have a connection with the Nobel Foundation.
I'm calling from the Nobel Prize in Stockholm. May we speak for 2 minutes?
And it was too noisy at the bus station. It was impossible. So I say, please call us.
Is it possible to do it in about 1 hour? I'm in the bus going to the airport. I will be at the airport in 1 hour, so it will be quieter.
And this famous picture was taken by my wife when I was on my computer, just completely dominated by the flux of email. Because as at this moment, the announcement was already done from a few minutes. So the rhythm of new emails, congratulations, bing, bing, bing. Every 5 seconds you have a new email. Incredible. So this was the start of this long story. The life of astronomer going frequently to observe in many places in the year, in addition to scientific conference, in play to be many months away from the family. So when you have small children, all the burden of this situation will lie on the shoulder of my wife. So, okay, time to time we have been lucky enough to have the possibility to move all the family in south of France or later on in Chile and so on. But nevertheless, I have this huge support of my wife and 3 children working later on in science. So probably science was not too badly considered by my children if they have chosen to continue, not in astrophysics, but in some domain of science. Oh, my hobby. When I was young enough, I was really lucky and loving to do climbing, high altitude sports, rock climbing, high altitude ski, and things like this. So evidently today I like to continue to do hiking and no more climbing, but still also to do downhill ski and cross-country ski, things like this. Yes. I feel that when you are hiking, you have time to think on new ideas. Okay, you can. I hope that you spend some time just to admire the countryside, but also I believe it's the activity to walk. It's very nice to have time to think. You have no email, you have nothing. It's good to. And yes, I believe it's an important part of this kind of activity. If you are in a dark place on a summit or the topic on a top of a mountain and you are looking at the sky, it's difficult to escape good questions. And so still today, I'm really fan of astrophysics. Just you see and you ask, like many people in the past, what it is. And this is a good aspect for astrophysics, that you have the possibility, if you are away from the light of a stone, to ask this kind of question. And for example, when you are in Chile, the center of the Milky Way, at some moment, is just at the zenith of where you are observing. And you have the Milky Way here. It's absolutely fantastic to see this, because it's much brighter than in the northern sky. Okay, during the last 20-25 years, we have been lucky to explore all this diversity of planetary system. And already today, many colleagues are working on the specific new domain. Do we have the capability, the possibility to detect life? And I'm quite sure that we know how to detect life. And evidently we still not have the good instrumentation to do it, but we have the path how to do it. So after it's a matter of years, money, maybe to have new, better ideas. I would say 1 generation. It's not for next year. It's not for next year. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, but I'm quite confident. I don't know what is the answer, but we will have the instrumentation to search. And it's good. It's a good question. In science, it's absolutely fantastic to still have extremely huge questions not solved. Cosmology, black holes, life in the universe. It's not details. So for young people, I believe it's so nice to have huge questions still facing us. The question of the possibility for the humanity to move on an extrasolar planet is a very important question for me. I like to stop this kind of dream. If you consider that the man went to the moon 3 days, light needs 1 second. No, let's consider a very optimistic possibility to have maybe 1 good planet, good in the sense that we can have a good condition, at 30 light years. 30 light years is really our neighbor. Nevertheless, this is approximately 1 billion light years. 1 billion seconds for the light to go. 1 billion times 3 days is completely crazy. It's millions of years. So no way to go. And some people say, oh, okay, we can accelerate the spacecraft. No, the energy to accelerate is impossible. So no, our planet is alive. There is not another one. We don't have possibility to emigrate. I'm not discussing the solar system, but extrasolar planets are not a possibility to emigrate for the humanity. And Earth is so beautiful. Why? We are lacking of experience to compare the other planet with us. The only things we can say is that we have 200 billion of stars in the Milky Way. If only one planetary system among 100 is convenient for a rocky planet, it's still a big number. So let's imagine how many planets in the universe are convenient for life. So this is the next big question, to search for, not for very distant planets, but to analyze if life exists on much closer planets. And this is not going to this planet, but just analyzing the luminosity, the spectra of this planet.